Welcome to the Market Outlook 2024, Leaping Forward, and Happy
Happy
New
New
Year!
Year!
My name
Happy
is
New
Gail
Year.
Fernanda, and I am the
My name
Marketing
is
Manager of MyTrade PH. And my co-host today is none other than the Business Development Manager of MyTrade, Mr. Robin Haka.
Hi guys. Good afternoon.
All right, let's start, okay? Shall we? 2024 signifies great hope, opportunity, and abundance to everyone as we mark our first few days of the year. We would like to welcome everyone at MyTrade by Abacus Securities, and today we want to celebrate this day as we look forward and leap forward to a better tomorrow. 2023 has its ups and downs, from the suspension of SPNEG to the launch of short selling in the country. One can say that the Philippine stock market experienced a very Christmas to cap off the year. Can we see a raise of hand to those who positively believe that our portfolios this year will be profitable and we will have a better tomorrow as we leap forward? Taas ako yung kamay ko dyan. Sure na
Taas
yan.
din ako dyan. No? Well, we all hope so, Gail, since 2024 is a leap year. I know every one of us is hoping that our portfolios will also take their leaps upward this 2024. Now,
Mismo.
to officially start our market outlook, we have MyTrade's very own CEO and chairman, an inspiration to many, and a mentor to some. Let's please give a round of applause for Sir Paul Su.
Happy New Year to all the MyTrade account holders and all of our customers. Um, I've been asked to say a few words this year, very quickly, to share with you some simple thoughts that I have about what to expect this year and how last year was primarily, and perhaps, hopefully, make most of you understand some of the things that I have learned over the years. First, last year, we were all facing higher interest rate, high inflation problem. And naturally, our economy, not as strong as other economies, more developed countries, our people tend to suffer a lot more. Commodity prices are up. Even today, a lot of the basic commodities are still high, although inflation has come down. Uh, so that being said, we look around and say, how are the other countries doing in terms of managing inflation? In the US, they have a 2% target and they've achieved that. They're now not looking at higher interest rates, but instead, everyone's looking at when interest rates will be cut. The same discussion is being done by the local monetary authorities. What it means, therefore, is for a change from last year, where we were all worried and all of these concerns tend to bring down market prices because companies have a lot more expenses to pay, employees' concerns as well, and so on and so forth. But this year, with interest rates lower, inflation pressures also getting to be less. Uh, we think that the market will do a much better performance compared to last year. If you looked at last year's chart, and sometime during today's presentation, that will be done. It was essentially a downtrend market. It go up, it come down, it go up, it come down. By the end of the year, uh, you're seeing a lot more pressure, and then towards the year end, it starts going up. And this 2024, the first 2 weeks of 2024, you're seeing stronger market. Now, what essentially it's saying is you've got the new year optimism, and the market has been cooperating with that. We've noticed that the last 2-3 weeks, there's a lot more foreign buying that's happening in the market, and that is a good thing for us. Understand that this whole market price driven activity is a function of supply and demand. And demand normally coming now from foreign buyers tend to move the prices up because most of the local fund managers and even the retail investors have already acquired as much as they can acquire. Having said that, we think, I believe strongly that this year does look very good. and global market seems to be also moving higher, and so we should also be doing that. But like most things I say, look at the best companies during the bad times when the market is having pressures on prices. What you do is you look at your portfolio and try to switch, if you can, to the bluest blue, strongest company that pays dividend, cash dividend, so that then when the market rebounds, the first thing that rebounds are always the best company. It's not the speculative ones. It's always the best company. And I think for my trade account holders, that is what I would suggest. Understand your portfolio, understand why you're buying it. Because if you own a blue chip that pays cash dividend, even during bad times, you still make 4 or 5%, and sometimes even more. As these companies tend to pay a lot more relative to the stock price. So having said that, I again wish you a happy new year, a prosperous new year, and for all of us a much better market, so that then it becomes more productive investing in the stock market. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that, Sir Paul. So a few words na nag-resonate sa akin from that Gail, no? Yung first 2 weeks
I
of
like how the
2024,
New Year
stronger
optimism.
market natin, and yung New Year optimism, kung
Yes.
tawagin natin, a lot more foreign buying, and really that is a good thing. Tapos nagbigay rin si Sir Paul ng advice if ever man na downtrend yung market, and that's to look for the best companies that offer cash dividends. Para at least, if ever man na downtrend yung market, you'll be still able to receive an income from those companies. And if the market rebounds, the first companies na nagre-rebound palagi ay yung mga best companies. Diba?
And
Very,
to
very
add to
nice.
that, Rob, I like the part that the market is the one participating in all these things happening. And I'm pretty sure that the more participation that we have, the better we will be.
We
So
will.
again, thank you, Sir Paul, for that wonderful introduction speech. Now, let's move forward to a more exciting and a most awaited. Ano nga ba ito, Rob?
Tama ka dyan, Gail. So let's move to the next part of the event. This is what everyone is waiting for. We'll be giving away MyTrade merchandise to 10. I repeat, 10 lucky winners. So to everyone who has registered, keep your fingers crossed. Okay? Bunutan na tayo. All right, let's start. Spin the roulette, please.
Let's see who's going to win these merchandise. Because this
Exciting,
year, alam mo ba,
exciting.
Rob, just to share with you, we got a lot of new merch this year. Aside from the usual calendar that we give away, we have notebooks and pens, and then of course may pa coaster pa tayo this year. So I think everyone's excited to get that.
Of course, lahat yata tayo dito ay either nagko-coffee or nagti-tea. So
So,
kailangan natin yan para sa energy. So everybody will be looking forward to that. So let's start.
okay, roll the
Okay, let's
roulette,
spin that.
please.
Yun, no?
Who's the lucky winner?
Yun.
All right, congratulations, Sir Oscar Almonte. Don't forget to send us a message with your client code, or if you are a new or prospect client watching us right now, please send us a message with your name, address, and contact number so we will send it right at your doorstep. Next up, game.
All right. Let's go. Sir Oscar, congratulations. Yan, slowly. Yun. Congratulations, Mr. Ryan Raxtin. And if you're an existing client of MyTrade, do messages of your client code. If you're a new or potential client of MyTrade, do messages of your contact information so that we can have your merchandise delivered to your doorstep. Thank you.
8 more
Congratulations, Sir Ryan Raxtin.
go.
Let's go. Third na.
Third
Robin
winner.
Hapa.
Okay, let's see who's the lucky winner. Start pa lang ng year, ang dami ng winners agad.
Okay.
have Mr. Chris Jordan Gomez. Congratulations, Sir Chris. Please claim your merch. Send us a message and don't forget to send in your details. Congratulations again.
Sir Chris.
Now on to the next one. We have
For the fourth winner, Miss Joy S. Media. Congratulations po. Please do leave us a message to claim your merchandise. Ayan, apat na yung nananalo. Meron pang 6. Let's go to the 5th one.
fingers crossed, everybody. Sino kaya ang mapalad today? We have Tony Nieva. Please send us a message. Congratulations, Tony. You're a lucky winner today. Start pa lang ng year, lucky na.
Grabe. Pang-6 na ba? Pang-6 na?
Anim na?
Pang-6 na. Okay, okay. For our 6th winner, Miss Maria Antoinette Encinares. Wow, what a beautiful name. So, Miss Antoinette, please do leave us a message to claim your merchandise. If you're an existing client, do leave us your client code. If you're a new or potential client, do send us a message on any of our social media platforms. Congratulations, Miss Antoinette. Okay, let's go.
Congratulations, winners. For our 7th winner, tama ba? 7th na tayo. We have Manilyn Milete. Congratulations, Manilyn, and don't forget to send us a message.
All right, down to the last 3 winners. For our 8th winner, Mr. Arnold Pepino. Ayan, congratulations, Sir Arnold. So for you to claim your merchandise, please do leave us a message on any of our social media platforms. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Sir Arnold. Next na tayo, 9th winner.
We have Miss Annalyn Guizon. Congratulations, Miss Annalyn. You're a very lucky winner today. Claim your prize. Send us a message with your details. Congratulations ulit.
Congratulations, Miss Annalyn. For the last, eto na. For the last winner.
Drum roll, please.
MyTrade, sino kaya?
Our 10th winner.
Listahan. Oh! Who is me?
Oh, medyo hirap-hirap to. Actually, ang unang tingin ko dito is yung crying emoji.
Actually,
Tama
ako rin,
ba?
siguro hindi maganda ang portfolio niya last year. Kaya ganyan yung nag-register siya. Di ba?
Don't worry, sir or ma'am. Whoever the winner today is, magiging happy face na yan when you receive the merch of MyTrade PH. Thank you so much for registering today. Please don't forget to send a message on our platform so that you'll be able to claim all the merch that we will be sending you. Client code, name, address, and contact number. Congratulations again for the winner.
Congratulations.
All right. Ang unang pasabog sa market outlook is very much, everyone's looking forward to it. Ang dami nga nagme-message. Meron ba kayong calendar today, this year? So, ayan na po. The top 10 winners will have those merch, not just the calendar, but again, the notebook pens and coaster. Now, to begin our market outlook, more on the serious matter tayo ngayon. We have our first speaker, who also happens to be the first chartered market technician in the Philippines with 20 plus years of experience in the field of technical analysis. He publishes Abacus, Super Timer, the technical research product of Abacus Securities, where he accurately predicted the October 2008 market crash and the market bottom in March 2020, even as the pandemic rages on. Everyone, please welcome Sir Lawrence Gonzaga. Good afternoon, Sir Lawrence. Happy New
Hi, Sir
Year.
Lawrence. Good
Yeah,
afternoon.
Happy New Year.
New Year.
All right, we will give you the floor and leave you to it.
Yes, let's go to the first slide and let's dive in. Mm-mm. The next one, the next slide. Yeah, okay. Here we have this long-term chart of the index, and as you can see, there's two lines on the chart. There's an there's a blue line and another purple line. The blue line was the support until it was broken during the pandemic, and the underside of this blue line represents a strong resistance at around the 8,000 level. But before that, there's also another resistance, which is the purple line. That's where we drew a line starting from 2018 and connecting the highs. And it gives us a strong resistance near the 6,800 level. And even on the chart points, we have several resistance to contend with the 7,000 psychological level. Further up, we have 7,150, 7,500 before we get to 8,000. And and we see that the market is being very selective, and movements have been driven by funds flow. So I think it pays to be selective, and it pays to look at where foreign funds are going. Like recently, foreign funds have been buying BDO, and we've seen BDO moving up. And we also noticed that San Miguel Corporation suddenly has been enjoying some serious buying. That's why it moved up from around 100 and it's now above 120. Yan. And just for fun, I mark up the chart with two arrows, the green one and the red one. The red one was where we turned bullish back in 2008, and the green one was where we recommended clients to come into the market right at the height of the pandemic. So as you can see, technical analysis helps me with risk control. So I would be placing bets where where my odds of success are highest. So it was really obvious during March 2020. It was a no-brainer. It was an outright all-in buy. And but at current level, I would be more selective with all the resistance hovering above. Yan. Let's go to the next slide. Here we have the daily chart of the index. As you can see, the index has hit the 61.8% retracement level, and it has been hesitant to move up further. But there's no reversal signal that the market will go down. Maybe it's just going sideways to digest the gains, and we see resistance at 6,750 if ever this Fibonacci retracement is broken. And the market is currently above the 50 as well as above the 200-day moving average line. So I would say that the market is not that bearish. The market is in fact enjoying an upward trend for now. And we can go to the next slide. I often like to do this filter. I like to look at issues that are liquid above the 50-day and also above the 200-day moving average lines, because that's my definition. That's my definition of a stock that is in an uptrend. And for this screen that I did yesterday, we have some stocks here like PLDT, GT Cup, Meralco, Jollibee, etc. Even the usually being ignored stock like San Miguel, it also appeared on this screen. Yeah, we can go to the next slide. Here, I just put up a chart which is an example of a stock that you would generally want to avoid. This is for ASEN. The red line is the 200-day moving average line. The green line is the 50-day moving average line. And as you can see, the stock price is currently below both the 50 and the 200-day moving average line. More so, the 50-day is also below the 200-day. So even if the stock can rally, but we don't see the stock gaining much traction as compared to another stock. We can go to the next slide. This is an example of a stock that is in an uptrend. You can see the stock breaking out, pulling back, and breaking out again, while the stock price is above the 50-day and the 200-day moving average line. This is the chart of GT Cup, and this is an example of a stock in an uptrend. Our target for GT Cup probably 630 plus or 670 plus, but we don't worry about that because we can put in a 10-day moving average line to trail our stock. So meaning if ever the stock continues to rally, as long as it does not fall below the 10-day moving average line, then GT Cup should be okay. Yan. Let's go to the next slide. Here I shared some of my technical notes. I don't think we have to go through this one by one. You can just take a picture of this one and you can go to your favorite chart platform and see if and compare notes, see if what your support and resistance matches what I have here. I think it should be more or less the same. Like for example, let's go to AC. Recently, it gapped down due to a share placement. So this gap now represents a strong resistance at the 696 peso level. So we don't see the stock going much higher than 696 in the near term. Then with Ayala Land, there's an uptrend channel with resistance at 35 and further up another resistance at 40. And BDO, it has enjoyed serious buying recently, and it also broke out above the 200-day moving average line. So next we have BPI. It's attempting to break resistance at 106.20, but there's some resistance at 110 and 114.40. One stock that I'm looking to accumulate is Cebu Pacific. The chart pattern looks like it's bottoming out, but it will take time. Support is near 32. If ever it rallies, we expect SEB to go to 36 or 38. And for Globe, although it's not doing much on the chart right now, trend is flat. There's a key support at 1,700. Let's just keep an eye on that level. GT Cup, we have already discussed that. Next. ICT, it's pulling back, and Metrobank, the next resistance is 60. SM, we have resistance at 919 and 947. SM Prime, it's still in a trading range. Recently, I get some questions about Union Bank. Some clients would like to bargain hunt. And we see support at 44.10 and 44.85. But it would be safer to watch for upside reversal signals. And finally, we have URC, the chart looks like it's bottoming out, but below the 200-day moving average line. URC may not be the market leader at this point. That's it from my end. We can leave some time for question and answer later.
Thank you very much for that, Sir Lawrence. Now, some of the comments ni Sir Lawrence na na-retain sa akin is no reversal signal for PSEI. Banggit ni Sir Lawrence kanina, no reversal signal, and ASEN's chart is something to avoid because it's trading below the 50 and 200 moving average line. And yung 50-day ni ASEN is also below the 200-day. Well, GT Cup naman is a sample of stock na upward on trend because it's trading above the 50 and 200 moving average day. Tapos some of the take profits natin, and also yung key support to eye on for Globe at 1,700. So if you have questions, guys, please feel free to comment them down below, and we will be having our Q&A portion later on the program. Thank you very much, Sir Lawrence. See you
Thank you
later.
again, Sir Lawrence. See you later po at Q&A.
So yon. Before we proceed, so tapos na tayo sa technical analysis, no? So susunod natin, of course, yung fundamental analysis. But before we proceed to the next part of our market outlook, let's have an icebreaker first. Okay? Pahinga muna ng konti kasi technical yung pinag-usapan natin eh. Let's have a
There were so
game.
many numbers. There were
Correct.
so
So
many,
let's have a
diba?
game.
Ang daming numbers eh. So, I'm sure everyone is taking down notes right now, just like what we are doing early on.
Correct.
Let them have a break, list
Correct.
down, think about it, kung ano ba yung ile-let go na nila o stay pa rin
True.
ba o bibilin or ba-bargain hunt nila. Let's think
True.
about it first. But while we are doing that, tama si Rob, let's have an icebreaker. Ano nga ba to?
So ang tawag natin sa larong to, Gail, is Kahoot.
Kahoot.
Okay, so
All
it's
right.
it's a very, very simple game. So I'm going to ask a question. All you
All
have to
right.
do is to choose the correct answer, type it down sa comment box natin. Then I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, go. Then after go, you kung sino man yung first na makakuha ng tamang sagot, pati spelling po pati spelling. Kung sino po yung makakuha ng tamang sagot, after I say go, will be the one na mananalo.
All
Okay?
right.
Very,
So
very
everybody,
easy.
yeah, everybody, are you ready for this game? You have to write down the answers and you have to wait for the signal for us to say go before you send it out. Ano ba
Right.
yung first question natin?
First, question natin, Gail. What is the online arm of Abacus Securities? So, ang choices natin ay Abacus Financials, MyTrade PH, MyTrade Map, or MyTrade Hub. So, again, may nakikita po ako ng mga sumasagot na hindi po pwedeng letter ang ilagay natin, yung complete answer po.
Complete
And wait
answer.
until I say go before you write down your answers. Okay? So, 1, 2, 3, go!
Okay, I can see a lot of entries right
Yan.
now.
Wait lang natin yung technical committee natin para ma-check kung sino ba yung winner natin for the first question. Meron na ba?
Mhm.
Okay, sabi ng ating technical committee, our first winner ay si Carlos de Guzman. Wait, i-double check natin kung tama ba yung answer ni Carlos de Guzman. Unfortunately, hindi po yan ang tamang sagot, Sir Carlos. Pasensya na po. Kuha po ulit tayo ng another winner. I'm seeing a lot of the right answers. Tingnan lang po natin. Wait lang po natin kung sino ba yung nauna. Ayan na. Ito, sure na po ito.
Sino nga ba ito?
Ray. Linus
Sir
Ray.
Linus. Nako, si
Ray.
Sir Linus medyo ano na, kota na yata to sa lahat ng
Kota na ba si
events
Sir
natin.
Linus?
Thank you,
So,
Sir
ang answer
Linus,
ni
for
Sir
always
Linus ay
participating.
ang answer ni Sir Linus ay MyTrade PH, and that is the correct answer. So for the information of everyone, MyTrade PH is the online arm of Abacus Securities Corporation. So congratulations, Sir Linus. For you to claim your prize, just to leave us a message. Okay, di ba? Madali lang. Punta na tayo sa second question natin, Gail. Let's go.
All right. Next question. What is the theme of MyTrade PH Market Outlook this 2024? Is it hopping forward, jumping forward, seizing market, or leaping forward?
No,
Ready?
nasa
1,
saya.
2, 3, and go!
Go, go, go!
Drop your answers in the comment box below.
Naku, mukhang nakita ko na kung sino yung nanalo.
Ang bilis po nila. So, again, what is the theme of our MyTrade Market Outlook this 2024? Is it hopping forward, jumping forward, seizing market, or leaping forward? All right. I think meron na tayong winner.
Winner. At siya si,
I
sino siya,
have
Gail?
to check first. Let's check it first kung tama nga ba.
Kung tamang answer.
Yes. Our winner for this round is Sir June Raj Abogado.
Yun, no?
Congratulations, Sir June Raj. Yes, Sir June Raj. Don't forget to send us your details so that we'll be able to send the prize to you. Yes, the answer is leaping forward.
Forward. Correct. Congratulations, Sir June Raj. So guys, kung medyo nabobother kayo dun sa game pin, please ignore lang po natin siya. No? Hindi po siya kasama sa palaro natin. Hindi po siya trivia. So ignore lang po natin siya. Okay?
So for everyone na kaka-join pa lang sa atin, we are playing a game, Kahoot, and you have to answer the right question. So kailangan walang mali sa spelling, walang mali sa formation ng words. So correct answers only, and you can choose naman from the multiple choice. So on to the next question.
Third. Let's go to the third question. Ayan. From our chairman, Paul Su, what has increased in the past 2 weeks? Is it foreign selling, volume turnover, foreign buying, international investing? Again, from our chairman, Paul Su, what has increased in the past 2 weeks? Is it foreign selling, volume turnover, foreign buying, or international investing? 1, 2, 3, go!
So if you listened earlier from the introduction speech, you'll be able to answer this question.
Correct.
Yung mga nag-take down notes, it's time to shine. Drop your answers below.
Ayan, from our technical committee, meron na yata tayong winner. Let me just double check.
Let's check if tama ba.
Okay, ito, nakita ko tong name na to. Nag-hello before mag-start yung event. Nakita ko yung name niya. So congratulations from one of our viewers sa Facebook, si Miss MMD. Congratulations. So her answer is foreign buying. So based dun sa sinabi ni Sir Paul a while ago, foreign buying has increased in the last 2 weeks, in the first 2 weeks rather, of January 2020. Congratulations.
Just a note to everyone. You have to write down your answers or send your answers after we say go. So dun yung basihan kung sino yung mananalo. If we say go, drop your answers agad-agad, and then we will choose who will be the first one to answer correctly. Okay? Next question, please.
Ano to? Last 2 questions na ba tayo, Gail?
Last question na.
Last question na. Nako, eto na. Pabilisan po.
Who is MyTrade PH by Abacus Securities' first technical analyst who just discussed the technical market outlook of 2024? Is it Sir Nicky Franco? Is it Sir Paul Su? Is it Sir Lawrence Gonzaga? Or is it Sir Isaiah Perez?
No.
Ready? 1, 2, 3, and go! Drop your answers.
No, hindi nila pwedeng ma-miss yan. Napakagaling na analyst niyan.
Okay, we have one more question left pala, Rob, just to clarify. One
Oo,
more
dahil mahal natin ang mga fan ni MyTrade. Meron pa tayong isa pang question.
I think we have a winner from our technical team.
Sino yan?
We have, I'll just check if tama nga ba.
Okay, double check.
Double check lang natin just to be sure. We have Sir Ian Hernandez. Tama. The answer is Lawrence Gonzaga.
From YouTube.
Congratulations, Sir Ian Hernandez, for winning this round.
Congratulations, Sir Ian. Lawrence Gonzaga.
Mhm.
Nagbigay po ng ating market
Technical
outlook for technical analysis. Correct? Last.
Okay.
Eto na.
Last question. Ito na. Dito na
Guys.
natin magkakaalaman kung sino ba talaga.
Eto na. Sino? Ang last winner. Who is one of Forbes Asia's best stock pickers? Is it Paul Su, Nicky Franco, Rainier Yu, or Lawrence Gonzaga? 1, 2, 3, go! Parang nakita ko na ulit
Kita ka
kung
na.
sino
Ang
ang
bilis.
nanalo.
Hangang-hanga talaga ako sa mga clients natin and our audience because they're so fast in answering the
Correct.
questions. Alam na
Sobra.
alam nila how MyTrade PH is and Abacus Securities. So thank you so much for participating our games for today. I think we have a
Ayan,
winner already.
May binigay ng ating technical team. Let me just double check kung tama yung answer. And yes, tama po ang answer ni Mr. Brady Racho from YouTube. Congratulations, sir. Your answer is right. Nicky Franco is one of Forbes Asia's best stock pickers. For you to claim your prize, please do leave us a message. Ayan. Ayos ba?
Congratulations to all the winners.
Daling
Again,
manalo sa MyTrade, Diyos ko.
exactly. I'll just recap the winners. We have Sir Linus Ray Camu, Sir June Raj Abogado, Miss MMD, Sir Ian Hernandez, Sir Brady Rachi. So congratulations to our winners. Again, don't forget. Racho. Okay, sorry. Brady Racho. Don't forget to claim your prizes, send us a message with your details, and we'll send it right away to your doorstep.
Congratulations. Ayan, na-refresh na ba tayo? Na-refresh na ba ang lahat?
Nabuhayan lahat. Ang bilis mag-type
Ayan na ba? Kasi we're heading towards the second part of our program na feeling ko marami ring
this is the last part of our program and everyone's been looking forward to this day as we re-strategize our stock trading strategies and what can we do in the next step of now that we are in a new year, new leap year. Eto na.
Eto na. Eto na. So again, for the last part of this program, we have our very own head of research. Okay, he's the only Filipino recognized by Forbes magazine as one of Asia's 10 best stock pickers, ranking in the top 5. Who are we talking about? It's none other than Sir Nicky Franco. Sir Nicky.
Good afternoon, Sir
Nicky.
Thank you for being with us today.
Good afternoon, everyone, and Happy New Year.
All right, so we'll leave the floor to you now, Sir Nicky, for your presentation.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, again, good afternoon, everyone. And as you can see, the theme for today's presentation is Leaping Forward. I chose the title simply because I wanted to get the word leap into the title because it's a leap year. But also leaping forward connotes that the market will finally have a good year after 4 straight down years. So, um, without further ado, I'll continue to the second slide, and immediately we go into the meat of the matter, and we believe that the current rally, which has seen the PSEI move up by about 11% since late October, will continue. We see near to medium term upside for the PSEI at 7,000, and we believe that we will end the year at 7,800. One of the primary reasons for our more optimistic outlook is the improved sentiment after the decline in inflation and because of broadening expectations that the BSP will do a policy pivot similar to what is expected from the Fed. Secondly, valuations remain cheap despite the recent 11% rally. And as our boss just said a while ago, there has been significant net foreign buying on a year to date basis. Also, I want to point out that um, the percentage of companies that um, are up on any given day, um, and we measure this by market breadth, is rising. And as we can see in this chart, rising market breadth is usually a positive leading indicator for the index. And we use the all shares index here because the number of stocks in the PSEI is too small to be a relevant metric for this chart. So as you can see here, um, often the rising or a rising trend in market breadth will result in continued increases in share prices for the broader market. Next slide. Of course, it's not all rosy for the Philippines. We believe that the economy is going to undershoot both for the fourth quarter of last year and for full year 2024. We think that fourth quarter GDP will be well below what's needed to hit the lower end of the government's target of 6%. And we're actually looking at 5%. For 2024, again, it's going to be lower in our view compared to government target, and it's going to be around 5% to 6% on the back of the lingering impact of the BSP's tight monetary policy, especially last year. Very high rice prices, actually, El Nino, and China's weak economy. Um, of course, there may be surprises along the way, but we may have to look beyond headline GDP data, headline GDP, because of data quirks. Just wanted to show this chart, for example. Tourist arrivals recovered significantly last year to 5.5 million from 2.6 million. But it's really surprising that tourism receipts, as measured by the Department of Tourism, um, increased by more than 100%, from 209 billion in 2022 to 483 billion. Um, we're not sure how the data was arrived at, but it does not seem to be in sync with the rise in the number of tourists. Now, this data point is going to influence fourth quarter GDP. So it's going to be a positive for fourth quarter GDP. But again, as I mentioned, we may have to look beyond headline GDP because of data quirks like this. So for those who follow me on Twitter, one of my mantras is to dig deeper And this is something that we are probably going to take a much closer look at to see how this impacts our outlook for the rest of the year. Now, on the next slide, we can see here the dark green line showing that headline inflation has already fallen to the top end of the BSP's target range of 2% to 4%. And this is on the back of the huge decline in vegetable prices on a year-on-year basis. As you probably remember from late 2022 to early 2023, high vegetable prices, particularly for onions, caused a significant increase in headline inflation. Um, However, the base effects from high vegetable prices will practically disappear by around March or April of this year. On the other hand, price pressures from rice, the price pressure from rice is likely to stay at the current level of 19.6% or go even higher because of tight supply globally, but especially tight supply coming from the Philippines' primary supplier, which is Vietnam. So, what we're saying is that when the positive base effect from vegetables disappears by March or April, then the negative impact of high rice prices is going to take over. So even though we expect February inflation to be at or close to 3% already because of the base effects that I talked about, we foresee that headline CPI is going to swing up again by March and could breach 5% again by the middle of this year or by the third quarter. We cannot rule out that inflation may actually go back to as high as 6% later this year. On the other hand, depressed oil prices, depressed coal prices will help temper the rise in headline inflation. But um, simply put, rice prices is going to be a big factor moving forward. And this includes not just for inflation, but for the consumer sector as well. Um, but despite our outlook that inflation will rise again by the middle part of this year and through the third quarter, we believe that the Monetary Board is going to cut interest rates this year by at least 100 basis points and up to 150 basis points. We believe that the first cut will be in May. This is following the potential for the Fed to cut its own policy rate by as early as March. Currently, I believe that the odds um, for a rate cut from the Fed in March is at about 70%. So that's a very good number to bet on. And if the Fed does follow through and cut rates in March, then we believe that the BSP uh, will start to ease rates in May. Now, I think there was already a minor pivot signal from the BSP recently when Governor Remolona stated that there's already less need for forex intervention because of falling inflation and a weaker dollar. Um, so again, bottom line, 100 to 150 basis points of rate cuts this year, but the BSP is unlikely to mirror the expected easing from the Fed, both in terms of absolute number and in terms of timing. Now, on corporate earnings, we're quite positive in the sense that we believe Bloomberg consensus estimates are relatively conservative. Um, Currently, the 2024 consensus EPS growth for the PSEI is only 8% and just 9% for in 2025. We believe that the upgrades will start coming in after the first quarter earnings confirm our view. Um, I'll just spend a little time on this chart. In the boxed shaded area, there are about 40 or so names that are hidden, but they are hidden because they're all um, um, there together. They're all in a similar spot. So they're all in just that box, and there's no large deviation for the stocks in that box. What we're particularly interested are the outliers. Let's start with those on the left. So these four names, Semirara, DMC, FGen, and PNB, the market is looking for a decline in EPS this year, but um, we don't think that clients should immediately dismiss all of them, um, or shouldn't immediately dismiss them. For example, we like Semirara and DMC because we believe that the high yields that they've been giving investors will continue into 2024. Now, for the names, the two names above, EMI and Jollibee, um, Lawrence mentioned Jollibee earlier as being a relatively strong stock on a technical basis, but on fundamental basis, both are relatively fully valued already. And I'm jumping the gun a little bit here, but I think these are two names that clients can start to at least um, reduce exposure to and move into some names that are much cheaper and have higher growth expectations for this year. And speaking of those, the outliers on the right are ASEN, DNL, Union Bank Plus, and Cebu. Lawrence also mentioned ASEN earlier. I don't disagree with him, especially since there's going to be another rival renewable energy play soon, which is CREC. We recently attended a briefing from CREC, and we liked what we saw. Um, it probably will depend. It will probably come down to the price of the IPO, but we like the stock. We like the long potential runway for its earning assets and profits. So that is something to look forward to. Now for the others, we all like DNL, Union Bank, and Plus and Cebu Pacific, and we are positive on these names. Now, the primary reason why we believe that upgrades are coming for corporates is because of better margins, as we can see in this following chart. Um, Apologies, medyo magulo because there are 10 names in one chart. But to to keep it simple, the 10 biggest PSEI firms by market cap saw operating profit margins improve by an average or simple average of 800 basis points from full year 2021 to the third quarter of last year. And we believe that this general trend is going to continue into 2024. And we don't think that this has been captured in earnings expectations or consensus earnings. And this, therefore, leaves the door open for a lot of upgrades moving forward. Another positive we believe is that valuations are going to expand. As we can see in this chart, um, the forward PE ratio for the market was at 11 times at the end of last year. The only um, the only time that it was much lower was during the Great Financial Crisis. Now, this of course would exclude the COVID low in March of 2020. We also continue to point out that the country is trading at a significant discount to its emerging markets and ASEAN peers. So the good thing, the really good thing about a low PE is that even a very slight expansion in multiples will mean a big jump in equity prices. So, for example, moving up from 11 times to 12 times PE will result in a 9% increase in equity prices, even if we hold everything else constant. Moving from 11 times to 13 times, which is still cheap compared to historical levels, we're going to see a nearly 20% increase in equity prices on average. So what we'd like to say is that clients, investors should really take advantage of the current low valuations because um, doing so really leverages up your potential for capital appreciation in the coming years. Um, this is just the chart that shows the market is still trading at a discount to emerging markets and ASEAN. Um, One negative, however, is we think that liquidity will stay weak. We can see in this chart, which is the 20-day rolling average for market value turnover, excluding block sales. Recent market value turnover remains low, very low actually, compared to historical levels. Um, it's a good thing, again, that there's been foreign buying year to date. However, in the longer term, we don't think that this is going to be sustained because other emerging markets have much better narratives. On the other hand, local institutional investors will probably wait for the easing cycle to be in full swing. Um, Sorry, a few words missing from that. They will wait for the easing cycle to be in full swing before they start the great or a great rotation from bonds to equities. And that will probably come hopefully by the second half of this year. Meanwhile, what we're seeing is that retail money is being diverted to crypto, with Bitcoin rallying to above $45,000 recently, and Bitcoin really pulling up the entire crypto space in recent weeks. So the attention of retail investors really divided between crypto and Philippine equities right now. Um, of course, we prefer that retail investors focus on equities, but we really can't blame them for. Um, we really can't blame retail investors for taking advantage of the opportunities provided in the crypto space. Um, on the other hand, we believe that liquidity will be significantly better compared to 2023, but still well below 2019 levels. Next slide. What we want to show here is that um, remittances in dollar terms have been relatively consistent in the low single digits growth, positive area. But in terms of in peso terms, remittances have actually gone into negative territory, and this is likely to remain in negative territory for at least a few more months because of a high base for the exchange rate at this point, at the same point last year. No? So this will have negative effects on the consumer sector um, that will probably temper the gains from lower inflation. We also see structural weakness in terms of twin deficits, which is the budget deficit and the current account deficit. High rise prices, which leads to more dollars going out of the country because we're a net importer. Um, Structurally weak as well because of missed growth targets and slowing remittances that I mentioned. On the other hand, this is going to be tempered by uh, a renaissance in BPO growth, a soft US dollar, and a drop in oil and coal prices. By the end of the year, we expect that the uh, dollar will be at 56.50 to 57 pesos uh, per dollar. For this year, we expect no high profile IPOs. Um, as I mentioned, net foreign buying, there's been net foreign buying on a year to date basis. But as we can see in this chart, the downtrend is still very much evident. And we don't think that there's a significant catalyst for this to reverse, to fully reverse, or to really reverse over the next few months. So we think that SM REIT and Prime Infra, sorry, will wait until 2025. Sorry for the typo. Um, and this is consistent with what PSC President Monson recently said. He said that they expect only 40 billion in capital raising from IPOs this year. So this means that the five or six companies that will raise funds through an IPO this year will average only about 8 billion or so in terms of capital raising each. So basically, that really precludes SM REIT and Prime Infra, which are looking to raise about $1 billion for SM REIT, Prime Infra, a very large number as well. Now, for Mint, recall that management said consistently said last year that they want to be IPO ready by the end of 2023. So definitely they would have already done a lot of groundwork, preparatory work for that. And we believe that odds favor that Mint will list this year, but it will be done overseas. Unfortunate for us, but I think that it will be positive for Globe in the long run because they really need the capital to continue their aggressive expansion strategy. Now, again, as I mentioned earlier, CREC is very interesting, but we will have to wait until the final offer price. One threat that will probably come later this year is elections in the US. It's the big question mark um, when the calendar turns to autumn. In many of the swing states, or actually most swing states, Trump is leading Biden by a significant margin. It's not too apparent in this chart, which shows a national average of Trump leading Biden by about 1.2 percentage points. The national average is a snapshot, of course, of the total, but as you probably know, the elections in the US is really decided by about a dozen or so states. Um, and in many of those states, Trump is leading. So the markets will pay closer attention to the elections by autumn, which is September, October. Now, recall that Trump's term was marked by a weak dollar and a trade war with China, which is something that I think markets will prefer to avoid. So, a Biden loss could roil markets in the second half of this year. Recall also that Trump was very critical of Fed Chair Powell. And so, if he does win, Trump is very likely to replace him in 2026. And because of the performance of the Fed, or at least the perceived performance of the Fed, which is that they have been successful in at least increasing the odds of a soft landing for the US economy, then I think that um, replacing Powell with Trump's choice will be taken negatively by financial markets. Now, moving on to our sector outlooks, or we believe that property, transport, consumer discretionary, and gaming are going to lead. As we can see in this chart, travel is still one of the areas where revenge spending is lagging. So moving forward, there's still a lot of potential catch up for travel. And as you know, both Philippine Airlines and Cebu Pacific are already profitable. So continued revenge spending in 2024 for travel will definitely redound to their benefit, and also to the benefit of maintenance repair companies like Macro Asia. Now, on property, residential demand has been improving even with high mortgage rates. So the expected BSE policy easing later this year should boost demand significantly um, by the third quarter or fourth quarter of this year. Meanwhile, there has been, as you may have noticed, there has been a boom in gaming recently with a laissez-faire regulatory environment. We've probably seen so many ads for online betting sites in your respective social media timelines. I know I have, definitely have. Um, and the performance of some of these names have really confirmed that gaming is back. On the other hand, we believe the consumer sector will be mixed. Um, we haven't found any study, but we believe that rice affects Philippine consumer sentiment in the same way that fuel prices impact U.S. retail spending. Um, when you Google um, pump prices in the US and consumer spending, you will see data and analysis showing that when the pump price of fuel in the US breaches $4 per gallon, US consumers cut back their spending significantly. And then the reverse happens when the price of fuel in the US drops down to the $2 level. Retail spending or consumer spending increases significantly. In the Philippines, it's not fuel. We believe that it is rice. And you can see in this chart that it is especially negative for the bottom 30% of households, given that the weight of rice in their CPI basket is around 20%. And with um, rice prices going up 20% in December, the figure is probably higher for the month of December compared to the numbers that you see in this chart. So we believe that staples will underperform as the bottom 30% or even the bottom 50% feel poorer. However, consumer discretionary is still going to outperform as headline inflation will still be considerably lower compared to the peak in recent months. We also like consumer discretionary because, in general, we believe that consumer discretionary companies will achieve much better margins for 2024. For banks, um, as the BSV starts cutting rates, banks' net interest margins are slowly going to contract by the middle of this year, possibly as soon as the second quarter of this year, but definitely by the second half of this year, and then more significantly through 2025. So, as you can see in this chart, significant gains in net interest margins for the big three banks, and we believe that this will reverse moving forward. Um, we believe also that the recovery in credit demand will be slow because of the lingering effects of the BSP's tight monetary policy. On the other hand, asset quality will improve and this will soften the blow on profits. But we think that this will not be enough because really the primary driver for bank earnings um, in general is really net interest margins. Um, We'd like to share what we think are comeback stories for the year. We think Monde, DNL, and Union Bank will be the comeback stories of the year, but our favorite is really Monde. Um, Now, sentiment has actually improved already significantly for Monde in recent months. As you can see in this chart, the consensus EPS estimates for Monde have improved from the lows, whereas those for Union Bank and DNL remain at or close to the lows. However, our outlook is that these numbers will improve significantly moving forward. Now we expect a big bounce for Monde because there has been a drop in input costs across the segments that it owns. Um, for example, sugar is a significant input for corn. And then we all know that wheat and palm oil are significantly lower this year compared to previous years. Now, noodles noodle sales, instant noodles sales may benefit actually from very high rice prices because for many, instant noodles can be a meal in itself. With rice, you have, of course, to have something else. Now, DNL is going to benefit on two fronts. It's going to benefit from the higher biodiesel blend that is likely to be implemented by July and from the ramp up of its new plant in Batangas. We believe, on the other hand, that Union Bank will outperform its peers this year as the integration costs from the acquisition of Citibank's retail business in the Philippines fades by the second quarter and as the synergies with Citi emerge this year. As I mentioned earlier, travel is one of the areas that um, we believe revenge spending will continue. Now, actually, fourth quarter NAIA passenger growth was weaker than we expected, possibly because of the high inflation environment. Maybe Filipinos decided to postpone travel to the provinces in particular because of slower remittances as well and because of high inflation. But we believe that 2024 will be broadly stronger, again, because of that catch up in spending for travel. We believe that Cebu will be the primary beneficiary with an expanded fleet and the lower jet fuel price. However, our preferred exposure to Cebu Pacific is through CEBCP. Um, CEBCP has not been paying dividends, but we believe that it will do so soon. Management previously said that they plan to do an equity restructuring that will wipe out the deficit of Cebu Pacific. And then after a few quarters, they should have enough retained earnings that they will be able to fully pay the dividends in arrears on CEBCP. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Now, on Macro Asia is actually ahead in terms of earnings recovery compared to Cebu Pacific. It's just that the smaller companies have been very illiquid and market attention given the low liquidity has been focused on the bigger names. However, given the recovery in the travel sector, we believe that there's significant potential for the market to eventually recognize its potential. Now, what we see happening within the energy space is that more attention is going to be paid to the renewable energy names. There's going to be, I believe, reallocation from the legacy names, Semirara, Aboitiz Power, um, even Meralco, um, a reallocation from those names and into the renewable energy space. And if everything goes well, um, both SPNEC and actually and CREC will have higher attributable operating RE renewable energy capacities um, on a domestic level by the first half of 2026 compared to ASEN. And with very strong financial backers, SPNEC may not actually need to do a secondary offering anymore. So that's our view for SPNEC. I think one of the reasons why the share price continues to lag, not just because it was suspended for 6 months, is because um, investors probably feel that there will be further dilution if a secondary offering happens. But we believe that there's a good chance. Again, we believe there's a good chance that um, the secondary offering is not going to be needed anymore, even to maintain the float at 20%. So the last bullet point here is that there's definitely room for more than one RE play in your portfolio, and CREC might be that one other play. But just to reiterate, our our recommendation on the IPO will depend on the final price. As I mentioned earlier, gaming is back, and we think that investors should place bets on the sector, in particular Plus. As we can see in this chart, significant increase in earnings over the past few quarters. We think that it will continue. There's been anecdotal evidence of significant traction for recently launched games, including card games. And I think the new NBA season is helping drive betting on their platform. So the other good thing about the sector, definitely, as you can all see, there's really decreased regulatory risk across the sector. So it's been really a big boon for the gaming industry, but more so for online players. Now for Lotto, it seems to be more hype than ripe. It really remains to be seen if its market share will increase in terms of lottery sales. From what we gather, it's still actually very minor. Um, and so the impact of the web based betting platform might be quite small at current levels. Now, we're still waiting for Lotto to launch its iOS version and maybe improve um, the current Android version. But again, right now, what we know is that the impact is still relatively small. Now, we also like Bloom, but there will be headwinds, and we discuss that a little bit later on. Now, we want to talk about some proxy plays. We think that SM Prime will move back to a market cap above 1 trillion pesos this year as it captures the increased buying power of Philippine consumers, especially on the discretionary side. Um, we like SM as a proxy play as well. We believe it's still the best holding company. It's cheap historically, and uh, so it's cheap historically. It's cheap compared to its own levels from years past. But one other thing is that its premium over its peers has decreased significantly. What we can see in this chart is that the earnings recovery of SM has been much, much better compared to AC. So, for example, um, just before the pandemic, the forward EPS of SM was around 41, 42 pesos per share. Now it has moved up to 67. So that's an increase of more than 60%. Now for AC, it has moved up from about 61, 62 to just 72. So that's only about 15% or so. So SM deserves more credit, we believe, and we believe that this will materialize this year. Uh, Also, we want to point out that the market really cannot advance significantly if these two proxy plays don't participate um, in share price advances. Sorry, excuse me again. Um, Now, there are some names that we believe that clients can wait for at lower levels. One of them is Ayala Land. So you can see in this chart, Ayala Land's earnings recovery is well behind that of its peers. Its current forward EPS is only 74% of what it was just before the pandemic. Now compare that to um, RLC's 128% to SM Prime's 105%. And even Mega World is outperforming Ayala Land. And yet Mega World is underperforming in terms of price. Same thing happening for Meg as the other smaller names. Its price is underperforming because of a big drop in liquidity. Now on Bloom, sorry, so just wait for Ali at lower levels because it's probably run ahead of its fundamentals. On Bloom, profits are likely to soften from the second quarter onward as Solaire North opens. It will draw some players away from its existing facility, and Solaire North will take at least a few quarters to ramp up and become profitable. On ICT, sentiment could soar on slower GDP growth. Um, as you can see in this chart. And then just yesterday, it was reported that South African unions have expressed their opposition to ICTSI's takeover of the port of Durban in South Africa. So that South African port is supposed to be a big source of growth for ICTSI moving forward. So if the deal to take over the port of Durban is scrapped, then that's going to be a negative for ICTSI. But with its huge portfolio, we think that its stock price is going to recover, um, even if that deal is scrapped. So just to wrap up, our key recommendations are to keep buying, accumulating, but there's no need to get FOMO'd. Our view is the market is going to need baby steps given the constraints that I mentioned. And those constraints are that net foreign buying is unlikely to be sustainable. Local participation is also weak. We think that GDP growth will be relatively slow. Um, and the BSP will take a longer time than the Fed to start actually easing policy. Now, in general, we like the larger names, the high beta names, and also those that are trading at significant discounts to their historical PE ratios. Now, we recommend peppering portfolios with selected second liners with strong positive narratives to boost returns. Now, we're on overweight on conglomerates, consumer discretionary, property and REITs, transport and gaming. We are underweight on consumer staples and banks, and we are more or less neutral on the rest. So the 10 picks that we have for this year are SM Prime, AEV, Monde, GT Cap, Union Bank, DNL, Manila Water, Espinec, and Plus, with special mentions for SubCP and Crete. I already explained SubCP, but for Crete, among the REITs, um, the basic or the underlying factor why we believe Crete will outperform is that it has a much longer runway for growth. And we'll write about this next week. But currently, the company has about 700 hectares under its portfolio that are leased to its sponsor. Um, by the end of 2030, CREC's goal is to have about 10,000 megawatts of operating renewable energy capacity. And at um, a rule of thumb of 1 hectare per megawatt, then by 2030 or a little bit later than that, the portfolio of Crete should reach 10,000 hectares. So that's a very long runway for growth for CREIT. And I think that those who buy it today will reap the rewards 6-7 years from now. So that's it, the end of my presentation. We can now go to the Q&A.
Thank you, Sir Nicky, for an
Thank you, Sir
insightful
Nicky.
outlook, both positive and negative. And now that we are moving forward to the Q&A, I'm sure many of us are writing down or taking down notes. Ang dami nating nakuhang insights.
Questions?
One of from the technical analysis of Sir Lawrence, where he showed yung chart earlier since 2008, and the red arrow shows the bullish 2008, and green arrows, it shows how we recommended to clients na mag-trade sila and invest. We see how technical analysis help the market risk control. And then as the market continues to rally, there are positive and negative outlook to look forward to. And then from continued low inflation rate prediction that we've mentioned earlier, and then to property, transport, consumer discretionary, and gaming to lead, we can anticipate how the leap year is going to be. Syempre, special mention dyan yung top picks natin and yung Seb and Crete. Just to know, ang pinaka-highlight ko sa notes ko is, just keep buying and accumulating.
Accumulating. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Now that we move forward, that we have the outlook and insights in place, I'm sure there are a lot of questions already
course.
gathered in the comment section. Excited na sila marinig yung mga answers sa questions nila. Let's put Sir Lawrence up on stage so that we can start answering these questions. We give you the floor, Sir Lawrence and Sir Nicky. Can we have the first question, please? From Steady Tito, considering the recent uptick in the US CPI for December 2023, is there a probability of a second wave of inflation? And what are the chances that it could lead to stagflation?
Thank you for the question. It was always expected that the final leg of the disinflation story for the US is going to be a little bit choppy. It's not going to be a straight line going down for US inflation. So we're not really concerned about the uptick in US CPI. I believe one of the Fed governors spoke after the CPI numbers came out, and she didn't seem to be too worried about it. She seemed to indicate that the disinflation story remains intact, but of course, she added that um, they still need to remain vigilant with regard to inflation, because of course there's always that possibility that it could still flare up. But right now, just to reiterate, we're not too concerned right now that there's going to be another wave of inflation for the US.
Okay. Thank you for that, Sir Nicky. We can now move to the next question.
All right. Not too concerned, guys. Not too concerned. Dun sa possible or probability of second wave of inflation. Now, for our second question from Elijah Habla. I'm sorry if I mentioned your name wrong. So, galing kay Elijah Habla, would like to ask for Sir Nicky's thoughts on GT Cap's earnings and current valuations relative to its recent share price.
On the valuations, definitely um, very, very low at it's currently trading at a PE of just 5 times, and this is 1.5 standard deviations away from its historical PE. So on average, it's uh, cheaper compared to the other conglomerates. And aside from travel, um, spending or the purchases of vehicles is still also one of the areas where revenge spending is likely to continue into 2024, especially if interest rates start to come down in the second half of this year. So the outlook for earnings is also positive um, for the company. Um, I mentioned Metrobank earlier as likely to see lower net interest margins starting the second quarter of this year. Um, but Toyota Motors Philippines is probably going to offset that. And then the other businesses are also doing quite well, especially the property side um, for GT Cap. So, um, and that's why GT Cap is actually one of our top picks for this year.
All right.
All right.
Thank you
So
for that.
maybe just to interject, sorry, Rob, I just want to
Sure.
hear out
Sure.
also Sir Lawrence insight on this because earlier you've shown a chart regarding GT Cap. Maybe we can recap
Yeah.
for Sir Elijah how GT Cap is in terms of technical analysis.
Okay, GT Cup is in an uptrend. It's above the 200-day. It's also above the 50-day moving average line. Recently, we saw a breakout above 600. So for this move, we're looking for an upside target of around 334. If it goes up further, around at 634. If it goes up further, probably around 670 plus for trend following traders as long as GT Cup stays above the 10-day moving average line at 605.50, then the trend should still continue to be up. Yan.
Thank you for that, Sir Lawrence. Now we can move to the next question. We hope, Sir Elijah, we answered your question regarding GT Cap. We have Sir Chris Yao regarding SPNEC. MVP mentioned Terra Solar will likely cost about 200 billion in total. Of this, how much additional equity do you think they need to raise, whether via PP or FOO? Sir Nee, sorry, I think you're on mute. Thank you
Sorry.
po.
Thank you for the question, and especially for mentioning the expected capex of 200 billion. Well, before I answer the question, I'd like to point out that 200 billion is lower than the capex estimate that was in the Prime Infra prospectus from last year. And this is because capex, the estimated capex cost has declined because the prices of the raw materials for solar panels and raw materials for battery energy storage systems have gone down. Primarily, polysilicon, which is the main component for solar panels, has gone down dramatically over the past 12, 18 months. Lithium dropping also quite a lot over the same period. So um, it's not just SPNEC that will benefit, it's the entire renewable energy space that will benefit from the lower prices of these raw materials. Um, Now, to answer the question, 200 billion on a debt to equity ratio of 70% to 30%. Now, um, that means 60 billion in equity for um, for the company. Sorry, for Terra Solar. Um, Meralco has already infused, I think, 19 billion of that, or paid 19 billion, but um, that actually goes to or that is actually going to be credited to the share um, of Espinec. So um, Terra Solar by in itself might need to raise equity capital, but at the parent level, at the Espinec level, we don't foresee the need to raise additional capital. The rest can be borrowed by the company, or it is probably going to be provided by Meralco itself, or even other companies within the First Pacific Group. And this is why I mentioned earlier, we're not worried anymore. We're not expecting anymore that Espinec will have to do a significant capital raise through a secondary offering, because of the financial muscle provided not just by Meralco, but the entire Metro Pacific Group and even the First Pacific Group.
All right, thank you for that, Sir Nicky. I hope, Sir Chris, you clarified your question regarding SPNEC. Now, let's proceed naman to our fourth question from Fernandez. So, raising AI technology po, what stocks would benefit on these? Is
Um,
is a good opportunity now po ba to accumulate telco or tech stocks? Sir Nicky?
um, Unfortunately, there's really not any company that is in this space for the Philippines. Um, this is really an area dominated by um, large companies like Microsoft, Google, and Facebook, and the rest. Um, Secondary effects like data centers, or companies using a lot more data, or consumers using a lot more data. These are secondary effects that will indeed benefit telcos, but the impact would be relatively small, still relatively small compared to the legacy business, which is uh, the mobile business for both Globe and PLDT and Converge. Converge also indicating recently that they want to go into the data center business. So I don't think personally that AI is a play that we can use for Philippine equities.
All right. Thank you for that, Sir Nicky. I hope it answers the question of Fernand's, how AI is going to play out in the market as we go along. Next question, please. From again, Steady Tito, could you please provide your insights on the recent price action of Globe and the factors contributing to its lagging share price performance?
Um, what I recently wrote is that um, there's there's really that perception that the legacy mobile business of Globe and even that of PLDT is really in its twilight, meaning market is mature, very mature. There's really very little room for growth. But if you, I just don't have the chart right now, but if you look at the data consumption of the Philippines compared to its peers in the region, meaning the average consumer, there's really a wide gap between the amount of data that the average Filipino consumes compared to our neighbors in Malaysia, um, Thailand, forgot the other country. But of course, one reason for this is the high cost of data in the Philippines. But over time, with the intense competition, the cost for each gigabyte of data has been going down significantly. So I think that over time, um, the data consumption of the average Filipino consumer is going to catch up with the region, and that will eventually redound to the benefit of companies like Globe. Right now, it's really not apparent, and so the share price is underperforming. But I think for those with a longer term view, and especially if you believe in the story of Mint, then I think Globe is something that you can add definitely to your portfolio.
Thank you for that, Sir Nicky. Can we also share the chart for Globe, Sir Lawrence, so we can take a look at the trend?
Shared. um, okay, I'll just make a comment na lang. No? I'm not sure how to share the screen, but for Globe, there's a key support at the 1,700 level. So if this support holds, then the chance for Globe to rally to around 1755 or 1794
Mhm.
is still uh, is still intact. However, if it breaks 1,700 level, then we could see another leg lower. So far, there's no signal yet. So we have to see whether it breaks 1,750 on the way up or it breaks 1,700 on the way down. Currently, it's just within a trading range. And it's also worth noting that it's below the 200-day moving average line, as well as below the 50-day moving average line. So the trend is still downwards.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Got that, Sir Lawrence. Thank you for that, Sir Nick and Sir Lawrence, on your thoughts about Globe. Now, to our next question from Ian Hernandez. Is it still advisable to hold on the preferred shares like SMC 20, which has a yield of 8% if interest rates are to go down soon? Yeah, Sir Nicky, for you po itong question na
Yeah.
ito, sir.
We actually talked about preferred shares today in our short
Mhm.
takes. Um, Not particularly SMC20, but there are preferred shares that you can actually that we are actually recommending to buy. Um,
So
if you can um, if you can read through our report today, there are about 16 preferred share issues that will have call options uh, within the next 12 to 15 months. And for a good number of these, we believe that they are highly likely to be called because of the step up rule, um, or step up clause that is embedded in the preferred shares. So the step up clause usually coincides with the call date. So
Mhm.
if they don't call the preferred shares, then the coupon rates on these issues are going to increase by 200, 300, 400, or at the extreme, even 800 basis points. So for many of these preferred shares, it's really a no-brainer for the companies to call them, and because um, um, all of them are actually trading at a discount to the call price, then there's already going to be capital appreciation from your buy price to when the preferred shares are called, anywhere from 2 months to 15 months from now. But you also will get all the dividends, quarterly dividends that will accrue over the next 15 months. So, on a total return basis, uh, there are some names that we recommend, and you could actually earn between 8% to 15% over the next 12 to 15 months. So please look at our short takes for today. We recommended a number of issues that you should actually buy, and I think that these names, these issues can spice up your returns for this year.
Mhm.
Right?
Now we move to the next question. Thank you for that, Sir Nicky. A question from Sir Rene de los Reyes. Nicky, how fares Philippine in comparison to other EM? How attractive are we versus ASEAN, ASPAC, ex-Japan, and rest of the world?
Um, we don't keep track of how the Philippines compares to each and every EM out there. The space is very broad. Um, for example, Philippines, you can really compare Philippines to India. For example, the per capita GDP is very similar. The median age is very similar. But then uh, you can't compare the Philippines to an economy, another emerging market like um, Turkey, for example, where the median age is above 40, compared to our 26, and then the per capita GDP is much, much higher. So um, we selectively compare the Philippines to countries like Vietnam, India, as I mentioned, and then Indonesia. And when you do compare that, unfortunately, right now, the storylines of these countries are much, much more attractive compared to the Philippines. Um, Vietnam, for example, I also highlighted it recently in a report in our short takes. Vietnam is aggressively working to be promoted to emerging market status from frontier market status by next year. They're also aggressively doing um, things that will hopefully um, lead ratings agencies to upgrade them to investment grade status as early as next year. So this is not reflected yet in the share prices for Vietnam. Vietnam is actually even cheaper compared to the Philippines. But if you look at our historical valuations, when the Philippines was promoted to investment grade status in 2013, there was a huge um, increase in trading activity, huge increase in valuations, and we believe that this will happen to Vietnam maybe 2025, 2026, and eventually foreigners will um, position themselves in anticipation of these upgrades for Vietnam. Um, on the other hand, we don't have a similar storyline. Um, on the other hand, uh, Indonesia, for example, what what foreigners see in Indonesia is a lot of progress. They are providing a lot of raw materials, production capacity for battery for batteries, renewable energy systems, or batteries for renewable energy systems. They are also upgrading their mining industry so that they produce more value. They recently inaugurated the bullet train. So when foreigners see Indonesia, they see a lot more progress compared to the Philippines. So, and that's the reason why I believe that um, the recent foreign buying for the Philippines, while it will help in the near term, fortunately, I don't think that it is going to be sustainable in the medium to longer term.
All right. Thank you so much for that answer, Sir Nicky. Now, on to our next question. This is for Sir Lawrence from Linus Ray. So, Happy New Year, Sir Lawrence. For pure gold, 1 week trend following, two solid green candle. May I ask for possible resistance? Current price almost same price as March 2020 pandemic drop. Sir, naka-mute po yata kayo, sir.
Okay. For pure gold, we see strong resistance at around 30. There's previously several picks at 30.2, 30.3. So I think that should be a resistance. Also, the 200-day moving average line is at 29.40. So 20 to recap na 29.40, that's the 200-day plus chart resistance 30.2, 30.3. Yan.
Alright, so ang strong resistance po natin dun is nasa 30 level, Sir Lawrence.
Yes.
Alright, I hope that answers your question, Sir Linus. Gail?
All right, now that we are down to our last question. Actually, it's not a question. It's thoughts on Bloom's NFS, also with Dito and Converge's partnership. That's a question or thought from CG.
Mhm. I'll take the second question first. We addressed this. Um, we didn't address it in the short text, but we addressed it in um, the company's morning meeting. And while it is true that there's a partnership, it's a very limited partnership, um, and it doesn't confer as much benefit to Ditto as it would seem. Um, Ditto's access to Converge's network is not 100%. It's actually very small. So we don't think that there's going to be any significant um, benefit, at least in the near term, for Ditto, and even less so for Converge, given that the network of Ditto is much smaller. On Bloom's net foreign selling, it's really impossible to identify the source of the net foreign selling, um, but it's possible that they are seeing the same things that we mentioned, that um, the opening of Solaire North is probably going to be a drag on earnings in the near term. because it will take at least a few quarters to reach profitability. When you open a large um, a facility like Soler North, it really takes quite a bit of time for the customers to come in. It takes quite a while for people to be familiar with the new casino. It takes time to develop the relationship with the high rollers and everything. Expect that profitability will be a bit weak this year for Bloom.
All right. Thank you so much for your answer, Sir Nicky. And that concludes our Q&A portion, right, Gail?
Yes, but we know we have a lot of questions in the comment section. Don't worry, we will be answering those through content posting, and watch out for our Beyond Connections live session at the end of the month. We'll be answering those questions. So for those thoughts and questions that we missed out answering just now, wag po kayo mag-alala, ma-answer po yan ng research team namin. Again, thank you, Sir Nicky and Sir Lawrence, for being with us today, and for all those who attended our Market Outlook to 2024. Thank you, Sir
So
Nicky, Sir
much.
Lawrence.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. So before we conclude our market outlook for 2024, so lang natin syempre i-shout out or i-highlight yung mga social media pages natin, no? So for those of you out there na hindi pa po naka-follow sa aming mga social media accounts, make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on LinkedIn at MyTradePH. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel at MyTradePH to get updated when we release a new video about the stock market. Now, para naman po dun sa mga into podcast like myself, tune in to our Spotify podcast at MyTrade Unplugged to learn better how to navigate the stock market from the industry leaders. I believe marami tayong mga naka-line up na content for that this year. Di ba,
Yes,
Gail?
yes, we are. Now we are entering the season 2 of our podcast. So stay tuned, everyone. We'll be releasing those in our social media platforms. So don't forget to subscribe, like, and interact with us. So you can also shout out in our comment section if there are good things happening in your portfolio. Wag po kayo mahiya, mention it. We'll say hi, we'll like it, we'll love it, we'll thumbs up. So everybody, once again, I'm Gail Peñaranda, and my co-host is Robin Haka. Thank you for being with us today at Market Outlook 2024. See you again at the mid-year Market Outlook. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone!